Wait, do you know what the song that's been in my head all week? You guys have to sing along. Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa. Yeah. That's literally been in my head all week. I'm so sorry, I had to do it. Okay, cool. So my name is Grace. I go by Led by Grace on Instagram if you want to follow me after the set or just in general. And yeah, this is a full circle moment, man. I performed here like 2 years ago and I was so nervous. I was literally shaking, you can see in the video. And here I am headlining. Mad. Mad! So I've got a couple of pieces. And I'm just going to go straight into it because it's always the beginning that makes me a bit rocky. So for context, my first piece is called Giving Into Introspection. And it's because I'm in my head a lot, especially when I'm with people. And I was reading this book called Small Pleasures. It's Not What You Think. It was a really good book about like love. And one of the main characters, she was in her head and the guy asked like, where are you? And she said, I'm giving into introspection. So I thought that was a beautiful way to kind of explain what goes on my head, what I think about a lot, and yeah. But I need your help. So basically, when I point to Tony, I'm pointing to the whole audience, and you have to say 3 words, Grace, you are. So as an example,
Grace, you are.
So fine, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, cool. So what I think about a lot, I think about ice cream a lot. It is my number 1 dessert. It will be my last meal on earth. I literally get so many disappointing looks with how literal I take, let's skip to dessert. And also, it might just be me, but I feel like it'll be the number 1 necessity for people on the run because it's the only food I know where you can eat it all at once and like get rid of the evidence. That's just like a side note. So we're gonna point at Tony again.
Grace, you are.
Obsessed, I know. I think my love or obsession for ice cream stemmed from after church drives with my mum. At the time, finances were tight, but she always catered to the light in my eyes as we passed the Baskin and Robbins. She would watch me tentatively decide which flavor suited the mood I was in, even though it would always be cookies and cream until this day. Actually, no, I've graduated Dulce de Leche. Innocence personified and persevered in my smile, a silent hope that I'd remain a child. It's a type of comfort, food for my thoughts of the past, a silent hope to make those memories last. So he did this thing, and I'm pretty sure most men in here have done it, where he places one hand on the steering wheel and another behind my seat. Then he looks back and starts reversing, whilst he has a full camera in his car. Yeah, he did that, and he had the audacity to be like, calm down, baby, to his vehicle. Imagine. And I smiled and sighed deeply. Because hand to neck, choke, lips to breast, lips to touch, rest, fingers wet, just a tip, shit.
Grace, you are.
Celibate. Like, what the fuck? I know. But how do I tell him that this space we're in is not safe for both of us? Even if it is my comfort, see this place, if it were a room, the bed will be unkept, the dirty basket overflowing, the candle on its last legs, chairs on that one hair, clothes on that one chair that has a toughness of West African hair, yet amongst this organized mess, I like it here. Because it's kind of reassuring seeing a direct representation of all that I fear, because hanging up those clothes means dissecting why I'm hooked on emotionally unavailable men. Organizing my whites from my dark colors is learning how to compartmentalize my desires from my wants, addressing my bed situations, uncovering the layers of love that I deserve, and who has time for that? Moving on, I honestly think that people watching should be an Olympic sport because I have spent my whole life training. I am ready. Creating a random person's life story just by the way they wave for a bus or their order of chicken and chips is where I thrive. Like, how did he survive that heartbreak? It's clear from his order of fans with no ice, he wanted to be more than just friendly with her.
Grace, you are.
Tested, tired, and tried. See, I've cried witnessing the melancholy in a passerby's eyes without regard of their moral compass. My tears serving as a conduit to their pain, pouring all parts of me. Yet all I can do is smile, half smile reassuringly and think, bro, same. I've seen the fear in young black boys on their route to school, in between that space where they've not yet mastered how to conceal their vulnerability, but understand the rhetoric that they've got to need to portray bravery. I often think about that thread that weaves our similarities and differences and likes and dislikes, how the layers that reside within can be found on the surface of our skin. We are so ready to fill the shoes of those who walked before us, walk in the steps of the footprints etched in front of us. But what happens when those bottoms start to unstitch and weeds grow over those prints and tradition fails us and we're left with questions? Which direction leads us home? And if that's where the heart is, what made me so broken?
Great you are.
Only human. What if filling shoes fills the spaces and places and forms the pedestals of our great generational curses, leading us in circles back to this home forsaken, heartbroken? What if the path neither foreshadowed or foretold is where we grow old? And if so, should we not be bold? It's also ironic how from the feet of those who walked before me, blood, sweat and tears stained this concrete, yet I am here still trying to believe that where my feet are, I am free.
Great you are.
Hungry. That last one kind of got deep. I'm going to get something to eat. Peace. Thank you. Okay, that was my first one. Yeah, so that's I really liked writing that piece. I made myself laugh a lot. I do that a lot. My next one, I recently visited Egypt. Beautiful, beautiful country. And when I was there, I thought that those who have loved and lived and lost, their souls must be buried in the Red Sea, because there they can bleed freely. I think it's time for you to free me. See, I do not feel lightly, and I fill up easily. My heart a sieve to your hurt, filtering parts of you in your worst moments, and so to heal is to pour out what's left of you, whilst trying not to let me slip through. But how thoughtful is my restraint when pursuing you and leaving me? In theory, I hold that power. I should be able to release myself from these chains, but there was one time when you looked at me and your eyes said forever. And so, without realizing it, I gave the key to my captor. But how much of you do you need to shed for you to actually like what's left? Your favorite act is the joining of flesh, yet you claim a closeness to God. You cannot lead if you're not spirit-led. You cannot protect if you're not fear-bred, if you are fear-bred. You are my love, but not my man. At least not yet. Thank you. Okay. Do you know what's so? Thank you. What's so weird about that piece is, like, I think I wrote it yesterday, and I don't know where that emotion came from, because I'm good. Like, I'm not feeling anyone or anything like that. But it just came from, like, I think I was listening to something. But it's so weird how that works with poetry. Yeah. He knows. Okay, how are we feeling? Are we still here? Are we still all in this space? Are you guys good? Okay, amazing. Thanks, I love you too. My next piece is one that I performed when I was last here. So I think, Arnie, maybe Luke, Jamie, maybe people would have heard it. But I wanted to perform it again because I wanted to fully embody it, and I love it so much. And it was created because of my dear friend Tony. So we had a writing session once, and he gave me a prompt of, if you were in the Garden of Eden, what would you be? Nice. And it was a beautiful, beautiful a beautiful prompt. I mean, we both went different directions, which is really interesting. I obviously went abstract with it, so I am going to perform that piece. I love it so much, so I'm just going to breathe and get into it. If you were in the Garden of Eden, what would you be? Would you be one thing? Would I be one thing? Would I not be in the breath that God brought to life, in the fish, the birds, those in the sea? Would my spirit not reach as far as a forbidden tree, almost touching the heavens, but still left to wonder what lies beyond, untouched by sin, but holding birds of death? Even in this garden, the snake of delusion winds round my version of truth. Formed from his intention, I take solace in the fact that I was a thought before conception. Before flesh and bone, I was the seed of unlimited possibilities. Formed through his spirit, through his love, not through fear, my spirit would be found on the ocean bed. Created before the nothing, manifested from the beginning, before a separation between heaven and earth, day and night, when time was not a concept. My essence etched into the palm of his hands, his eyes holding my likeness, I would be found there resting. Because I'm led by faith and not by sight, through his creation that brings forth life. I'm led by faith and not by sight, through his creation that brings forth life. Maybe, actually, I'll be in the first leaf that touched the ground, before man was able to walk upon it, the first to fall into the safe hands of his creation, where falling meant peace and returning to your maker was the intention. I'll move throughout Eden, listening to his whispers, listening to his plan to create man. Before seasons were coined, I would change without reason, but purely because it was intended. Or maybe I'll be formed on the second day, when the water from the heavens separated from the water of the earth, and if so, was there a pause? To decide whether my purpose would be to fall, to give life to the living, or float peaceful in his perfect being. Because amongst every wave of emotion that overcomes me, whether it is love or pain or despair, I can trust I am safe because he is there. And I am led by faith and not through sight, through his creation that brings forth life. I am led through faith and not by sight, through his creation that brings forth life. I think I'd be in the first seed planted, its roots reaching the deepest corners of the earth, the first to experience growth from his springs of water, the first to experience his light from the sun, the gift of growing naturally in his provision. Without concerns of limits or depletion, would I even know fear? Would I experience lack? Would I not be watered by his love, producing fruits of his labor? How can I not live a life abundantly when this is my creator? When this is my creator. He said that I am the vine and you are the branch. If you remain in me, you will bear much fruit. And I think of this when I am asleep, when I am heartbroken or anxious. I think about how he places me in the palm of his hands and replants my hopes and dreams in the soils of the earth. How he whispers to me and tells me to remain in him because he's already planted a Garden of Eden within. And I am led by faith and not by sight, through his creation that brings forth life. Thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you. I feel like, thank you so much. I really love that piece. I keep fiddling with this mic. I feel like there's been a lot of throwbacks to old poems today, which I love because my final poem is the very first poem that I wrote. And you know when you have like a picture in your head, I literally remember sitting on my bed and writing it in my journal. And I don't know about some people, but when I'm in a specific space when I'm writing, I could memorize it on the spot because it depends on where the space that I'm in. I don't know how to explain it, but basically as soon as I wrote this poem, it was in my head. And I think that was a connection with it was just a heart connection, I guess. So yeah, this is called, a few people here have heard it already. And if you haven't, welcome. This is called I Stand. But before I get started, when I'm in the mirror, I stand in the mirror and I'm like, I stand before you, a confident black woman, right? But then sometimes I'm not sure. So that's a maybe. But it's for sure that I stand before you as a black woman. But I'm soft-spoken and I don't know how to do my hair and I sometimes listen to Taylor Swift. It's certain that I stand before you as a woman. But do I want to though? Would you be interested in the contents of my mind if you can see the curves of my body, so I stand? Because that's all I know how to do in the face of adversity. You see, society has already strapped on the restraints of similarity and has a straitjacket waiting in case you ever manage to break free. It's like they're saying, don't look in the mirror, you won't like what you see. But I do look. I look, and I breathe, and I count to 3. Actually, you guys are going to help me. You're going to say another 3 words. Don't you know? Okay? When I point to you. So I look, and I breathe, and I count to 3. You are a queen. You have the heritage of the kings of kings. God said no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So why do you walk in the shade to cover your face? You have the ancestry of powerful African kings and queens who are taken from their great civilization, bound by oppression, but still fought for the freedom of their future generation. You were raised by a queen. Her strength and love serving your very being. And that's when I realized I am only confined by the own limits in my mind. Like my hair, I'm not meant to be tamed. And so I owe it to myself and those who stood before me to stand unashamed because I am beautiful, no matter what they say. So you out there can sigh, attempt to empathize, but like the late Queen Maya Angelou said, still, I rise. Thank you, everyone.